Hi everyone, welcome to the order of operations. And today we're going to talk about what is the effect of inserting parentheses into a numerical expression. A numerical expression, if you look down here, you can even see them. They just consist of numbers and operations. Those operations can be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. And really we got to talk about is this idea of, can we just add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers in any way we want? Should we do it left to right like we could read a textbook? So the idea here is, can we just add or perform any of these operations, or should we follow something very specific? Okay, so let's take a look at activity number 1. You're going to be comparing different orders. Okay, so notice how here we have 3 plus 4 times 2, and then 3 plus 4 times 2. And the first thing, blue, they're going to ask us to add first. Okay, so if we add here, we're going to take 3 plus 4, and that's going to give us 7. Okay, and I apologize, my writing tablet is not working too well. So we still have this times 2. Okay, so we got times 2 there, and then 7 times 2 is 14. So that's the total when we add first, then multiply. So let's move over. Let's multiply first, then add. Well, we take the 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we're going to add to that 3. And so we get 11. Are those answers the same? Well, no, they're not the same, because 14 does not equal 11. So we're going to circle no there. Okay. In the second example, same idea. First, we're going to divide and multiply. So we have 12 divided by 3 times 2. Well, 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2, okay, and we get 8. So 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2 is 8. They want us to multiply, then divide here. Okay, so it's the same expression. It didn't show up here, so we'll go ahead and we'll have 12 divided by 3 times 2. And again, sorry about that pen. So this time we're going to multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, and we're going to divide 6 into 12. So 12 divided by 6 now, that equals 2. So again, we have two different answers. 8 and 2, no, they're not the same. We're having trouble circling this, so I'm going to underline the no. So it appears so far, comparing different orders, when we do different operations first, we get different results. So, in the second example, we have to figure out, use all the symbols and numbers to write an expression that gives us the given value, 3. Okay, so let's just take a minute. I'm going to see if I'm going to pause here and see if you guys can come up with, so we're going to use a set of parentheses and the division sign and the numbers 3, 4, and 5 and come up with the value of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here and see if you guys can come up with that expression right here in the right box, and we'll see in a second. Okay, did you guys come up with 5 plus 4 divided by 3? 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so I got the value. In the second one, we have to use parentheses, subtraction, multiplication, and the numbers 2, 5, and 8. So, what I came up with in the second example, I came up with, in parentheses, I took 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. And then 16 minus 5, that gave me 11. Sorry, and then this one up here I can go ahead and write 3 in. So we have the answer. So those values checked out. So it appears here, and you can make a hypothesis or a guess about this, when we evaluate these expressions, where should we start? Where did I start in both those examples? Okay, and that's where we're going to get to in a second. So a couple things. A numerical expression is an expression that contains only numbers and operations, kind of like we did up here in red, and also up here. Only numbers and operations. To evaluate or find the value of a numerical expression, you guys would consider that an answer. To find the answer, use a set of rules called the order of operations. And the order of operations are here. Now, normally, and we've seen in past, even when I was a kid, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that's the order, right? You can see it. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So you see the blue letters there represent PEMDAS. I don't really do that acronym anymore because sometimes they always assume that you have to multiply before you divide. But you got to be really careful. It's from left to right. So these are the orders. You go parentheses first, if you have them, exponents, if you have them, multiplication, if you have it, division, if you have it, and adding or subtracting. Meaning you might not see all of these. For example, let's do some problems. In the first example here, evaluate 12 minus 2 times 4. There are no parentheses. There are no exponents. So we skip steps 1 and 2. And look what we first find. We first see multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply. I'm going to have 12 minus 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So 12 minus 8 is 4. That's the evaluation. I've now evaluated that. That's my final result. Moving down, part B, evaluate 7 plus 60 divided by 3 times 5. So look, I have parentheses in this one, so I start there. So that means everything else stays the same for a minute. So you have 7 plus 60 divided by 3 times 5, which is 15. Now, we have 7 plus 60 divided by 15. What's first, division or addition? Well, you multiply or divide in step 3, add or subtract in step 4. So I got to divide first. 60 divided by 15 is 4. So I have 7 plus 60 divided by 15 is 4. 7 plus 4 now is 11, and there's my answer. In part C, you get introduced to, there's an exponent, right? It's a number being raised to a power. So evaluate 30 divided by, so in this case we have both step 1 and 2. We have parentheses and exponents. So let's just start inside parentheses. 30 divided by, you can't add before exponents, so you're going to have 7 plus 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 8. 2 times 2 times 2. Whoops, sorry. Now, we still have parentheses. We're going to have 30 divided by, so I can't divide and I can't multiply. I got to go into parentheses. 7 plus 8, that's 15. Times 6. Now it says, okay, well, what do we do now? Division and multiplication. Notice how it says multiply or divide. You'd say, oh, I'd multiply first because it's written first. Well, it's not. It's left to right, so we go left from right. Left to right, multiplication and division. We're actually going to divide first. 30 divided by 15 ends up being 2. And then we're going to have times 6. So this ends up being 12. In our last example, I want to bring your attention to the parentheses here. Look right here. There's no operation. That's considered multiplication. So you can just rewrite this if you need to as 15 minus 4 times 6 plus 1 divided by 2 squared. So I'm going to have 15 minus 4. We got to do parentheses first. 4 times what's in parentheses here. 6 plus 1, that's 7. Divided by, the second thing we could do is exponent. So 2 squared is 4. So I cleaned it up. So 15 minus 4 times 7. Well, 15 minus 4 times 7 divided by 4. So you're going to have 15 minus 4 times 7 is 28. Right? You have to multiply and divide from left to right. You skip the subtraction, multiply, and you have 28 now divided by 4. So you'll have 15 minus 7, because that's 28 divided by 4 is 7. And our last step is 15 minus 7, which is 8. Okay, so hopefully you have a little better understanding of that order of operations does matter. You can't just go in any way you want. We follow that. Yes, it is PEMDAS, but here's our key idea of order of operations on simplifying numerical expressions. Remember, with numerical expressions, just have numbers and operations. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, let me know, and we'll see you next time.